Hail and well met. This is Old School, and I'm CJ. If you've got a minute, I'd like to tell you a story. It's called the Theogony. Fathers and sons. It's a tricky relationship. He'd never really gotten along with his own. He'd have to kill him. After watching him push his siblings back into Mother's womb, Cronus was angry, so he sat there and waited. The first sickle ever made, given to him by Mother Gaia herself, was just the tool he'd need for his grim task. Waiting in ambush, finally his moment had come, when his father then attempted to hurt Mother again down there. He struck. With the fury of the blade, it left no confusion. No more children would come from Eranos, oh no, and no one again would hurt Mother. The king had been deposed. Long live the new king. Kronos now had the crown, but he also had the memory of how he'd gained it. He wouldn't be too keen on having kids of his own. His sister had also been taking notes. She would not let their brother do the same to their children. You see, both Kronos and Zeus were the babies of their families. But they also each had the temerity and audacity not to be held back by that simple fact. Never let where you start your journey dictate its final destination. Your path is only set if you accept that as dogma. When the son finally made his father bleed, he tempted the fates, and if there's one thing I've learned about those three, they never forget or forgive. The wounded Eranos screamed after the cut, and he retreated as far as he could think to go. He fled far, retreated behind the stars themselves, deep into the black. It allowed for space. Kronos was now the second father, the next all-father. But that's the funny thing about power. You're never the only one that wants it. The table is set. Eranos, and then Kronos, and then Zeus. These three generations of Greek gods, they're called titans and whatnot, but really what they are is their family. Things always get tricky with family. A better distinction would be Olympian and non. Now then, be wary of the man who taps ancient wisdom, for he carries with him the favor of destiny. Fathers and sons. We walk in their shadows until one day ours is larger. They teach us ultimately how to replace them with a better version. We fight this or embrace it, but either way, it sharpens us. Now then, it's important to remember that all things have their time. Even Father Time must give way. The crown must fall, and mightily, when Zeus would strike. But that's a story for another day. I think today's lesson for us all is this. No one will ever willingly give up the crown, power, and the lens through which we judge the past allows us to understand that it's a force that is only ever taken. Take your crown and place it atop your own head, for if you do not, or even if you hesitate, someone will beat you to it. Because ready or not, time waits for no one, Titan, God, or the rest of us. Perhaps the second point, though, is a much more primal one. Fear has a way of making us fixate on things that can lead to our own destruction, our own doom. Self-fulfilling prophecy is so real that I'm fairly certain it's a uniquely human thing. Invite destruction, and he will join you, I assure you that. Fight at all costs to prevent this. Fear itself is a very real thing, and its most potency comes especially when you wield it against yourself. Today, gang, learn something new. It doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to take a lot of time, but leave your comfort zone for learning something that you wouldn't usually. Remind the fates that you're here and you plan to give them a worthy story. I think all the shapes that Zeus would later take, all manner of beasts, big and small, he was never a bear. He was often a bull. Be a bull. Thanks again for your time, and until we meet again, farewell for now.